As we come to the end of November, we are seeing questions about the state of the economy, but we're also seeing some earnings beating estimates, with companies even pushing higher their full year fiscal forecasts. We're seeing President Trump continuing to try and develop relations with China's President Xi. Plus, we have, of course, as always, questions about the path of rate cuts. Joining us to talk about all of it, Professor Jeremy Siegel, Professor Emeritus of Finance here at the Wharton School and also Senior Economist at Wisdom Tree. Hi, Jeremy. Great to chat again.
Good to talk to you, Dan.
Let's start with the Fed and fiscal policy. Where do you think we kind of stand right now? Obviously, there's still talk about the impact of inflation, how much ever there is out there, and a lot of discussion about what we may or may not see in the December FOMC meeting.
Yeah, and this is likely to be the liveliest meeting that I can remember. Because if you want to know the truth, I don't. It's not decided. It usually is kind of decided by now, but because we haven't been getting data, and by the way, we're getting, as we speak, we're just getting a slew of catch-up data, and we will be getting more catch-up data into the future. But they don't tell. They told us that the employment report for the month of November will not be ready by the time of the December 10th meeting, which is a key report. So we have to rely on jobless claims and indirect reports. So there's so much uncertainty. I think there's a big split right now. And it could be decided by the data that comes out in the next 2 weeks to push it one way or the other. Right now, jobless claims are still the situation of no hire, no fire. Jobless claims at 220 is right in that sweet spot, but continuing jobless claims, which means that people that have to keep on applying because they can't find a job, is at a 4-year high, post-pandemic high, keeps on climbing up. So, if you don't have a job now, it's hard to find one. But firms are not at this point getting rid of a lot of people saying that the outlook is dire.
So you mentioned about the data that we are getting that is coming in, the September data, obviously more delayed than what we are normally used to. But how much value does that data still have when you think about that December Fed meeting? I mean, it's obviously, you're talking about probably what, a 6-week gap in terms of truly understanding. Is there still some value or really not?
Well, September data isn't important. Even October, I've been saying that if we're going to see a slowdown, if tariff increases, and we all know that Trump is trying to walk a number of these back, but if the tariff increases in place are going to have an effect, it's going to start now as holiday shopping ramps up. Really the data is going to be, some of it's anecdotal. How well is Good Friday going to be? I think it's been watered down because, everyone's starting Good Friday earlier. The day that used to be so concentrated now may not be. We're going to hear anecdotal evidence. How are people reacting to the increases in the stores? We're going to get credit card data, some department store data. Retail sales we will not get, until after the meeting. So it's going to rely on that. And I think that if there's reports of weakness, they're not seeing the buying that they expect. I think we're going to have a 25 basis point cut. However, if those anecdotal or credit card reports or weekly department sales reports hold up, I think there is a good case for a hold and with a willingness to go in the January meeting.
What's interesting for me, and I've been following a lot of these earnings reports the last few weeks, and I'll just use one, for example, as we're taping this. Dick's Sporting Goods, obviously a big presence in the United States. Not only did they have some promise for the quarter they just completed, but they upped their fiscal year forecast, and they're not the only one. So there is some optimism, I think, out there that even the doom and gloom that's been kind of talked about, like a slowing in the holiday shopping period, a lot of these retailers still feel like it's going to be a good quarter.
Yeah, and that's true. I mean, everyone talks about the record beats that we had or near record beats. You have to remember that everyone was so pessimistic. I mean, actually, Goldman Sachs came into the third quarter thinking, after all the tariffs, that it might be a 1.5% GDP. They're up to almost 4% GDP now, as well as Atlantic Fed was slightly over 4% for that third quarter. But third quarter is done. As I've always said, if we're going to have an effect of tariffs, we'll see it mostly in the fourth quarter. That's why those that are forecasting good that's very, 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 very encouraging. But a lot of these beats were because going into the third quarter, looking from the second quarter looked so bad that it was basically a low bar. That being said, AI, we're getting that this is quite interesting what's going on. As we're talking, Google's threat to Nvidia, uh, Alphabet's new AI program, Gemini 3, uh, taking leaps and bounds over, the OpenAI, GPT. Wow, I mean, that competition there is this is heating, and this is gonna be really important because we all know AI has been the major thing driving this market.
Yeah.
So, this is, as we speak, tremendously in flux, and I think will be really quite maybe, the topic of what really drives the market, in the fourth quarter.
Let me finish up by getting your thoughts. And obviously, we see a lot of headlines of President Trump talking with President Xi about the importance of having a decent relationship, the U.S. having a decent relationship with China as a trade partner, how important and how valuable that can be.
Well, it's very important. I mean, I think he recognized it earlier. And that's why when we've already had a meeting with Xi that was good. There may be another meeting. There's no question that Trump has been sensitized to the inflationary consequences of his tariffs, and with the polls not looking very favorable towards his economic program and the affordability, topic, which is on everyone's lips right now.
Yeah.
He is obviously wants to make sure that we don't have any further tariff induced increases in prices. I mean, I definitely see a reversal there, and that's clearly favorable to the market. I don't, no more threats. I'm not saying there won't be any because there'll be political issues that might come up, and you might threaten with tariffs. But nonetheless, there's a walk back here that actually started, I would say, last month with the meeting with Xi.
Jeremy, always great to talk with you and get your insight. We will catch up again next month. Thanks again.
Thank you very much. Happy
You,
Thanksgiving.
you too as well. Jeremy Siegel, Professor Emeritus of Finance here at the Wharton School and Senior Economist at Wisdom Tree.